I knew exactly what you meant, but it was funny that you phrased it that way.
Yeah. You just live send me. Thanks.
Ding.
Ding.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, presented by CinemaSins.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, a weekly look at everything going on inside the world of CinemaSins. I'm Aaron Deister, and I'm joined as always by Eddie Watts.
Hello.
And Danae Hughes.
That sounds like I used to be like in Van Halen or something.
Yeah.
That sounds like that sounds like an FM DJ or something.
Yeah.
Eddie Watts.
I was hoping you were going to give me
We got the weathers on the
especially.
8s.
Yeah.
I don't know how to DJ. I'm not good at that. So
Me either.
you guys are terrible.
We write for CinemaSins and TV Sins and do various other things inside the CinemaSins universe as well. How's it going, guys? Everybody still
Good. That was a
kicking?
joke, by the way, because they're actually DJs. If anybody
We
didn't
were.
get that. Or were.
Yes, we were.
We were doing like the DJ thing in the morning, right?
We
Now?
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that every day?
Yes,
No.
7 days a week. No.
No.
You did
we're
it 2
gonna-
days in a row, though, so that I was like, wow.
Yeah, we did it
We're
3
gonna-
days last week.
Or 3 days. Well, I mean, I didn't actually listen to any of them, but I saw you tweet stuff about them, so I'm just kidding.
Thanks for showing your support.
You're on the first episode, so
I did not hear that when I heard the other two, but yeah, no, I did not hear that one. I got very confused. Yeah, that's when you make a joke on Twitter and it kind of like backfires on you. And I'm like, damn it. People like thought I was really upset because they were like, no, they mentioned you. They really did. I'm like, God.
yeah.
you
There'll
for your
always be a
support.
Jonathan Puppet in the corner of the studio. So yeah, it's forever living here. Before we head any further into the show, right here at the beginning, we do like to thank our Sin Club members. You can be a member of the Sin Club, and if you're wondering what that's all about, basically you show your love for the Sins content by becoming a member at whatever level you choose to be. I think membership starts at $3 a month, and you get access to bonus episodes, bonus videos, discounts on merch, all sorts of fun stuff. If you want to check out all the details on that stuff, it's at patreon.com/cinemasins, or you can go to cinemasins.com and click on membership. That'll work as well. So yeah, we'd love to see you become a member of the Sin Club. And if you have any questions, feel free to let us know. We're really loving hanging out with our members. And we just released an annual option for members. So you can do an annual membership instead of a monthly membership and save a little bit of money. And we've already had people take us up on that. So that's kind of cool. So
Yeah, very cool.
So if you're interested in that, you can check it out again at patreon.com/cinemasins. Anything to chat about before we get into the videos for this week, guys? Like anything like on your heart that you didn't get out during our 5-hour outtake conversation?
Are you feeling okay? This isn't like you to be like, hey, let's not get on with the show. Let's talk more.
You know what? I take it all back.
Nope. I want to tell you about what's on my heart. I got to DM my first game.
Yeah, you
Let's
did.
talk about that for 12 hours.
Is that Dungeon Master?
Yeah.
Yes.
Not direct message. That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
That's
when I
right.
hear DM, I think direct message.
So now I'm going to take you through the world that I created, the players. I want to talk about the combat that actually didn't end up happening because they snuck around,
Yep.
just some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Probably want to back out of the world too. Maybe even tell you guys some secrets that I
Love it. Yeah, Danae, I think this is. I'm so glad you got a chance to talk about that, all that stuff. So let's head on to the SinSide Scoop. Like I said.
What's he building in there?
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
This is a true story.
Let's take a look at the videos from the week, the process of sending them, how we felt about the show or movie in general. And because of one of the movies this week, we're going to go with the SinSide Scoob today, not necessarily the SinSide
whoa, we're
Scoop.
starting with Scoob?
No, we're not. The thought just struck me when I said SinSide Scoop that it sounded like Scoop. Anyhow, that's how my brain works.
Yeah, we're going to go all over the place. We're going to start with Scoob. Then we're going to talk more about Dungeons and Dragons.
And
Yes.
mainly we're going to separate out the two Brooklyn Nine-Nine episodes to talk about one at the beginning and one at the end, because why would we do those together?
I didn't see a single person complain about that.
No, people love their Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and we do too. That's just
But
one
I
of those
did-
scheduling things. We just have to every once in a while move stuff around, and so we ended up with two B99s this week.
Back to back. I did see some people in, I think it was Was it HalloVeen that were like, you're too scared to do Yippie Kayak, or vice versa?
It must have been vice versa because Yippie Kayak was first.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So then it was people in that one going, you're too scared to do HalloVeen.
And then it comes out 2 days later.
Just 2 days later.
Let's start with Yippie Kayak. It's a fun episode. In many ways, I'm not able to distinguish much between episodes except for the stuff we talk about in the Sins video. You know what I mean? Like they're just different plots, but they're the same kind of fun. It's the same kind of energy. The characters are, pretty much the same. So I guess, HalloVeen is special because there's a proposal, but again, that's plot based. So, what I've said about Brooklyn Nine-Nine before, just carry it over to these 2 episodes. I love this show.
I love sending it too. Like I love this show with all my heart, and I love sending it. This show just makes me happy. And right now, things making me happy is awesome.
I had my first Brooklyn Nine-Nine laugh on the HalloVeen episode that we'll talk about next, and it's definitely growing on me. So
nice, because I remember you had said that it wasn't really connecting to you.
I'm like, I don't know.
Sitcoms are weird, right? Because I feel like you're just on board with the characters or you aren't. Like because like they all seem to have very similar like structures and plot lines and stuff like that. Like most of them kind of stick to the norm, but I don't know. I just love these characters. They and it's very smart.
It is. It's a little bit interesting in its pacing too, because it seems like they really don't give you a lot of breath, especially with Amy and
Jake.
Is it Jake?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just like everything is so quick, and I find that to be a nearly impossible real relationship. Like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's too fast, especially on the HalloVeen episode that we'll talk about in a second. But like in this one as well, watching this one, and it's the comedic timing, it's the writing. Obviously, it's a show. I say that to add that even though I enjoy it, I still don't know that I would pick it up and just like binge this one for whatever reason. It's just a little bit outside of, I don't know, my interest for whatever reason.
I'm hoping you get there. It is so much fun. And one thing I think specifically about a reason you might like this show as opposed to other comedies we've done like Community or whatever is you're rooting for these people. Like these are fun people not only to hang out with, but you also like them as human beings. And some of them are dumb. Like some of the, like Hitchcock and Scully are, their whole character is kind of oblivious. But they're not jerks. And, in the jerks in this show are jerks, and you're not supposed to like them. But our main people are people
the Vulture.
Like the Vulture. But the other people in the main people in the show, you root for all of them, amongst their idiosyncratic ways. So, yeah.
Oh, I think that's a good point, because Peralta is that great. Like, he makes mistakes, but he's not a jerk. Like, he's not an ass inherently, like somebody like Community.
Right.
Like, like his
or Curb Your
Mikhail's
Enthusiasm,
characters.
or whatever the case may be, or
Seinfeld, or whatever. I mean, Peralta is actually a very sweet guy. He just really loves his job, and he just really, he has like these crazy like ideas of what he can do, and he makes some stupid mistakes. But they're all really fun people.
Yeah,
characters.
Let's get into the Sins video now. Both of these episodes, I'm kind of taking them as here at the same time, but both of these were Dicer Watkins scripts, so Jonathan and I wrote on both of these. So Danae, what did you think about the Yippie Kayak?
Danae shadowed both, right?
I think she did, yeah.
Yeah, it's a shadow season for Danae around these parts. It's the season of shadow for myself, which you've talked about this before, but it does make everything very confusing. The lines between what I have and have not written are blurring pretty.
Well, there are a couple
terribly.
sins in these videos that you wrote, so you know what I mean. Like when you're a shadow, you can suggest additional sins, and you did that, and that's great. So yeah, so technically there is writing here.
I'm also doing this dumb thing where even if I'm not the shadow and I'm not the writer, I will sometimes go in and watch you guys do your editing for the video, and I'll make suggestions there too. And I'm like, I just need to get my fingers out of these. Like, get out today. Get out. It's just all confusing. I loved this one, although I was obviously confused since Die Hard is not something I'm super familiar with. So
neither is Jake, apparently.
Right, and that was the thing I really enjoyed, was that run about like all of the reasons that this isn't Die Hard, and clearly having a lot of fun with that. So I thought that was really great, even though I don't understand it.
It's not in the tower.
Right. It's not in the tower.
Yeah, that was all Aaron. I added the Christmas in Hollis. I don't remember what the one was Aaron had that he didn't like. But
well,
he
it was
like,
one of them I wrote. They
With
actually
the kids?
they addressed it. No, the kids we just changed to be correct. I had written incorrectly that he had 2 daughters instead of a daughter and a son or something like that.
and I didn't catch the first time. Barrett actually. So maybe Barrett actually. Shadowed
this was the one that
one.
I went in and did the editing stuff.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so Barrett was on this one. So yeah, Barrett actually caught that, thankfully, because I can't believe I didn't. I was just enjoying that run so much, I just didn't even think.
I sure wouldn't have caught it.
One of them, I remember now. One of them was that they weren't German, and the show makes a big point about them being Canadian, and so I didn't feel like we needed to point that out too. And so we added the Christmas in Hollis thing, which is better anyway. So I appreciated that ad.
I also liked the sin that I really enjoyed was the pointing out, like, well, is it okay to lie the other 364 days a year? Like,
I had that one too.
Why are we making a big deal? It's like you can't do anything today. Today's a special day when you have to be a perfect person, and it's like, wait, what does that mean? So that was just kind of a fun one.
Yeah,
but
it's also a way to take a jab at the idea that Christmas is like it's a different day than other than we all have the day off. You know, it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, don't
ahead,
swear
guys.
on Sunday.
Right. Not on Sunday. Any other day, super all right.
Yep.
What about you guys?
I'll go next. Amy's left-handed, I wanted to mention. I did research on the character, and then it was interesting to see left-handed people in the comments talking about how they just use their mice right-handed, and that is why specifically I said, like, the sin could be for the fact that left-handers just live in a right-handed world.
What made you want to look up if she was left-handed, though? Like, what?
Well, I kind of remembered that she was. Okay. And so I noticed that her mouse was on the right side of the keyboard. And
I was like, you were doing way more research than I am. You're like every single motion. You're like, oh,
Jonathan.
See what that
Eddie Watts. I put together my own dossier of every character in every movie or show that we do, and it's like a 10-page dossier with birth dates, what handed they are, all that kind of stuff.
Top 10 list.
Yeah, exactly.
No one is going to understand why you're calling me Eddie. It'll be as confusing as why my Twitter handle is Sam Loomis. Like, why does this guy not just use his name in anything?
So I liked that, pointing that out. You think you're being nice, but you're actually just being terrible. I loved that because there is this thing, and we've talked about it, Danae, with the tacos and turning those down. Like this idea that that we do things just because we think it's the way it should be done. So I liked that. Genital shaming. Yeah, I just thought that was great. The sin-off for Terry Crews was so important. He deserves it. He's so fun in this show. And then lit up literally like Christmas made me laugh too. Because
that was fun because that was one of those. I had like a Jeremy moment where he'll talk about as he's writing it. Like I remember in Bloodshot, he was talking about as he wrote it, the Jesus thing, and he's like, "Oh wait, and Jesus." That was kind of what happened to me here because I just thought it was silly that they had her in that open area and everything, and then I was like, "Oh my God, it's actually lit up like Christmas."
What about you, Jonathan?
You guys nailed it. I like that we gave a send off for the cold opens. And I like that Aaron mentioned the Gina Boyle coupling. I had forgotten about that actually till we watched this episode.
It's so weird. I don't get those two being together. Well, I think the show was going for the weirdness. It was going for you would never see these two together, but it's just some sort of sexual connection. And Gina the entire time hated the fact that they were together, but she just loved being with him. So it was weird.
It was weird. And then at the beginning of the series, he tries to start a relationship with Rosa, which I think they maybe go on do they actually date? I can't remember if they actually go on date.
I don't remember.
I just find it hard
but they
to
had
believe,
a lot more chemistry.
I find it hard to believe that Boyle would want to be with anybody other than Jake, right?
Right? He's a Jake-asexual. Basically.
Oh God, especially spoiler alert, the episode you guys did.
I know. I'm saying the more that I watch this, I'm like, okay, he needs to be he needs to find a woman that looks like Jake and acts like Jake, or just a straight dude that looks like Jake and acts like Jake, and then I think it makes sense for him. Otherwise,
it might be a problem if it's a straight dude that looks like Jake.
This would be like people talk about elevated horror and stuff. This is elevated bromance.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I didn't mean straight dude, like a straight out.
I knew exactly what you meant, but it was funny that you phrased it that way.
And
Yeah.
I loved
You just live sinned me. Thanks.
Ding.
I loved the run of Taken sins, or not sins, but it was the same sin, but it was just the diatribe or whatever, just going through.
That was like you're just talking about with the Christmas thing for me. It was like, I know there's something there with taking and taken, and I tried it a bunch of different ways, and I was like, oh, maybe that's the sin. Maybe I can't figure it out in the actual sin. And so then I just finished it with, you sin this one.
But the outtakes were awesome. And my favorite bit about the outtakes was that Aaron and I both, in the same scene, wrote 2 separate SNL outtakes. Or put in 2 separate SNL outtakes. You did the undercover boss, right?
Yeah.
That's what yours was, and then I did the match chat.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't even catch it. It took me like 3 watches to even catch that was also SNL.
Wasn't the outtake that you have for HalloVeen? Maybe we can transition. Are we going to go back to back B99 today?
Yeah.
Sir in charge, Aaron.
Yeah.
Okay. The outtake on HalloVeen, I'll just say it now, about codependency was hilarious.
Oh, that was, and I didn't know what that was from because I had not watched. And that was weird. That was the Palm Springs one, right?
Yeah, the Palm Springs proposal.
And I watched it like a couple days later because we did the mini pod, which hopefully will be out by the time this drops. But and I had no idea what that was from. And then I was like,
right?
That's hilarious.
It was so perfect.
Yeah.
And you had a Palm Springs one on this one too, right? You had the
yes. Yeah.
I need to go check on my dog.
Yes. Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah, no, it was
stuff.
just that was just one of those light bulb moments,
Yeah,
where
Aaron was like, "I know it's long, but I want it all in there."
I did. I really. Wow, that's.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna take a break.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I did not mean it that way.
No, but
Time out.
it's certainly a title of my sex
Aaron
tape moment.
said, "I
for
know
sure.
the outtake is long in
Thank you for
in
clarifying.
seconds measuring."
But if there has been a
normally-
better "that's what she said" moment in the history of our podcast, I don't think
Let me
we've
explain.
seen it. So.
We find that outtakes, if they're more than 6 or 7 seconds, they don't hit as hard.
Seconds, right? Yes,
Seconds. And so Aaron wanted this in so badly.
Yeah, I did. It was so good. Anyhow,
Great.
Yes. No, I literally wrote that note. In the script was, I know this is on the longer side of the outtakes that we do, but please, this is going to be
That would have been
wonderful.
a better way to put it. Yeah,
I loved it.
What else, Danae? What else did you like in the video?
Nothing. That's it.
Well, that's too bad. That's unfortunate. Okay, well,
Are we talking about HalloVeen now?
Yes,
I'm so
yes, we've
confused.
moved on to HalloVeen. I guess I should say this is the proposal episode if people are kind of wondering which one
Well, and
it
it's
is.
also this is obviously with the V in there. If you couldn't tell, if you don't watch the show, this is their 5th Halloween episode, and that's kind of become a really fun tradition that unfortunately the last couple of seasons they haven't really been able to do because the show has aired in the spring.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I believe they're supposed to. Well, depending on but who knows when the show is going to come back. I know they were planning on doing another one this season, but now they're trying to just figure out how they're going to do the show.
Yeah,
So,
it's the heist. It's the heist episode. Yeah,
it's so awesome.
I obviously have more. I didn't know if we were transitioning 100% or not.
100% transitioning.
Sorry.
Yes, continue.
Oh, okay. So there's an interesting thing in the comments that's happening, and I want to address it on this one, and that is the "I am a golden god."
Mm-hmm.
What is that from?
Almost Famous.
Okay, so I haven't seen Almost Famous, but I knew it was from a movie. However, apparently in Critical Role, which is the podcast I'm a fan of, the YouTube show that I'm a fan of, that has everybody that's voice actors who play Dungeons and Dragons and all that stuff. They're in their 2nd season, but in their 1st season, one of the characters does something crazy, and she says this. So you'll see in the comments that everyone's like, "Oh my God, they're referencing Critical Role."
I wondered what
with
that was
I
about.
Am a golden god.
So
Yes.
in Critical Role, were they
That's
referencing
insane.
Almost Famous? She had to be referencing Almost Famous in that moment. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm assuming that the person who's playing the character that did this thing says "I am a golden god" in that moment, which is what they know that reference from. Now, also though, there have been several other Critical Role little sprinklings in here and there with "I am Buttonbeard" and the reference about Matt and Marisha, lighting their house basically on
flume,
fire that day. The flume issue. Yeah, and there's been like a couple like little ones here and there. So I think that we've got some very vocal critters, which I love. Bidet, by the way. But it's just funny to see it. I'm like, I know that's not from Critical Role because my
you
guys
didn't write on it.
I didn't write on this one. My guys don't watch the show, and it's gotta be because I've heard you, Aaron, reference "I'm a Golden God" before,
And I'm on
so
drugs.
I just wanted to clarify that.
This reminds me though of there was a Who greatest hits the band The Who greatest hits compilation that came out like 2000 maybe 3, and there was a sticker on the CD that said featuring the hit song from CSI. like that's but that really is probably the first place a lot of people heard that song, right?
Yeah.
And that song was like, at that point it was like 20 years old or whatever. And
it's for my boys, it was the Toy Story Star Wars moment where they watch Star Wars for the first time and they're like, they got that from Toy Story. And it's like, no, get that backwards. Get that backwards.
Or me saying that'll do donkey and you being like, it's pig.
Yes. Yeah.
I really enjoyed shadowing on this one, but and I enjoyed watching the show. I've never seen one of the Heist episodes before, but it was definitely a lot of fun, if not goofy.
They get crazy as they go.
Yeah, it is just this impossible thing. I thought you guys did a fun job in the script. I did add a sin this time around because the sentence references the dog. And so I thought there needed to be some kind of a dog moment. So I got to kind of add in a little puppy sin, which was fun.
And valid, by the way. That fake dog is never resolved, never addressed. Where did you get a fake cheddar? Where did, Now,
it was pointed out in the comments they had been planning this for a year. So
well, see, here's the thing. But the thing that they're pointing out, I'm gonna listen. When there's a you done messed up Ron, I'm the first to admit it. But in this case, the things that they're talking about are yes, you can plan a heist, but you don't know what everybody else is doing, and the things that we're saying are based on what other people are doing. Like that safe being there. He didn't know she was going to have that, but yet somehow he has an imitation one, so yeah.
The entire thing is impossible. It's one of those you just have to suspend all of your understanding. And then, of course, to sin it, you get to bring it back into reality. And the dog situation is, yes, maybe you had a year to plan, but you couldn't have involved the captain in that. Otherwise, he would have known. So how did you get a dog to follow a stranger into the precinct? During this crazy moment and then disappear at the perfect moment for the real cheddar to come back. It was just
and we left a lot of stuff on the cutting room floor too. Like there was so much to sin. I mean, with the heist and stuff, like the fact that like the captain could put that the thing together, the what do you call that, the lever, I mean whatever he was doing to
that little device,
pulley system,
the pulley system that he'd have to put it that and some of that stuff, like it's sinnable, but how do you sin it? And
it was more fun to send the sweat dropping that Aaron put in there, so I liked where we went with most of the stuff. So I mean all the stuff.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Every STD for themselves was one of my favorites.
I had that written down as well.
And the Handmaid's tears delivery from the narrator, where it's like
I had that down.
That was just a funny thing. Like
that's Danae's favorite show. If anybody didn't listen to the Handmaid's Tale episode,
oh yeah, she loves that. She cannot wait for a new season.
She's wearing a bonnet right now. It's weird. Is that called
I think
a bonnet?
They call them wimples.
Wimples.
This is my wimple. This is my sinning wimple.
Nice. Danae hates that show. Just in case you don't get the joke.
What about you guys? What did you like,
Jonathan?
I liked Captain Holt would be a captain at CinemaSins, and that was another one. That was the way it's written is the way I thought it out. Because I was like, oh yeah, captain, that works. Okay. So for the couple 2 or 3 Brooklyn Nine-Nines I've worked on before this, I've tried to get in a sin, which you were shadowing this, so you might have been fine with it. But I've tried to get in a sin about Terry speaking in the third person, and for some reason, like Barrett's just shut it down every time I've done it. I don't know what it is. I mean, I know why he has shut it down, but it made me figure out a way to do it, like to get one in where we actually did we kind of made fun of it. So we have the TV Sins doesn't think Terry is. That's why I wrote that, because I was like, damn it, I'm getting something in here.
If you can't actually sin it, you can mock it. That's one of your lessons.
But I like that Barrett knocked those down, because maybe I wouldn't have written this one. So I think this one was better. The other ones were just kind of like, oh, Terry talks in the third person.
We knock you down so you can get better, Jonathan. That's why we do it.
And then Aaron getting a title of my sex tape sent in there.
Yeah,
was
that was
awesome.
a good one. It was so funny.
I don't get it. Seems pretty normal. Title of my sex tape. I love the idea that the college girlfriend kind of that's what she said joke for this narrator is title of my sex tape, but it's always something really bland.
Really bland.
But that's a Jake Peralta thing, right? The title of my sex tape.
Yeah.
It is a Jake Peralta thing, but it's more salacious on the times that he uses or whatever. I just like the idea that this narrator thinks it's hilarious.
Like doesn't understand sex.
Yeah,
It's
doesn't
super
understand that he's
bland.
making fun of himself, kind of thing.
Did you guys see we also had two different comments on how much Jake spent on his phone? I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
one person said $13 and one person said $14. I'm like, if this is actually in the show, I don't remember it.
It is, but I didn't remember it either. I wish I had that level of memory because that would have made that joke even better.
Yeah,
It was
narrator's
you
not
spent,
supposed to remember.
You spent $13 on that phone. You should use it. That would have been funny for the people who knew. But no, I had no memory of that.
Yeah, we forget things. We're old.
That's true. Let's see. I loved the voice modulator, Sin. I got to say your impression of Gina's ghost face / Jigsaw was spot on.
That got worked on a lot too. Like that got massaged.
I think
Danae even added something to
I'm sorry.
I
thought it was hilarious, though.
It was. No, it was.
That Jagogene, I had to write that out phonetically because you want to say Jagogin or something like that, and but it's Gina, right? So I was very particular, Jigsaw, Ghostface, Gina, Jagogin, no, Jigajone. It was a mess. Jigajone. Anyhow, I liked that, and then I wanted to mention the TikToking. I thought was fun too. So yeah, good stuff. Let's move on to a really fun music video. Since this week we are doing WAP. Which apparently stands for gushy, according to this video. So,
what does two fine church-going people like you think of this song? Come on, I know that has nothing to do with anything. I'm just making a joke.
Let's hear Barrett's notes first, and then we'll all give our thoughts.
I will get there in just 1 second, but I just wanted to go look just to make sure I knew what WAP stands for. And holy mother!
How did you not know that?
Are you being serious?
I didn't. Guys, listen. I am very disconnected.
Well, no, I just mean if you watch the video, I would have thought it made sense by what Barrett was saying. You could have figured that out.
No. I definitely knew that there was some gush happening, but I didn't understand exactly.
So did the water cascading out of the house, out of the entryway?
I just thought that maybe WAP was like a sound you make or something.
It's a very subtle song. I'll give you that. So
it was
I
super
just thought
subtle.
It was a sound you make, like WAP WAP. Hey, honey, want to do a little wop wop?
Does no one else do that?
Nope, not at all.
I've spelled the alphabet.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, I've had compliments from it, so I'm.
Is it hot in here?
Just a little bit.
Warm?
Just a little moist, actually. A little humid.
All right. Here's
humid.
Jesus.
Let's go with
Barrett.
humid.
So Barrett starts off by saying, "I love me some WAP."
Womp womp.
He says WAP WAP. I'm not a huge Cardi fan, but I do like Megan Thee Stallion quite a bit. But this song and video is very enjoyable. In my opinion, they didn't do it just to be salacious. They did it because they could. They're strong, sexy women and can rap about their naughty bits all they want to. My only real problem with this video is that it was censored for some language, and I cannot for the life of me figure out why. Everyone knows what they're talking about. Oh, except for me. Sorry about that.
Barrett Danae has just disproven your theory.
I feel like there's going to be so many people disappointed in me. And it's not like the video doesn't have obvious references.
Basically, Barrett's notes have turned into him making fun of Danae. It's unintentionally.
And then I'm reading his notes for the first time. This is awful. And then he puts in parentheses, including lots of boobs and butts in the decor. Oh my God. I believe Cardi said the actual version would have been banned from YouTube, but I cannot buy that. Regardless, they look like they're having a great time. The song is a banger, and I appreciate what it's trying to do. Is it high art? No, but neither is MTV's The Challenge, and I love that shit too. I also do love high art just as much. Oh, also, I can't understand why the Jenner lady was in there, especially for that 23-second break in the video. I feel like I'm pretty in touch with pop culture, but the Kardashian Jenner clan is a blind spot. Without looking her up, I've literally forgotten what her first name is. Pretty sure it starts with a K. Anyway, we need more vagina songs.
It's Kendall, right?
I am
Kendall's
not
Jenner,
in
right?
this. I am not in disagreement. We already talked about this in genital shaming. You know, the way we are so precious about the parts of our body is something we've talked about before. I'm in agreement. Vagina songs, penis songs, you know, whatever.
I'm in agreement with him. I do prefer Megan Thee Stallion over Cardi B, but I think I might like Cardi B more than he does. But I don't think the salacious's are only intention, but this is definitely supposed to be like an in-your-face song. Like this isn't. I mean, they're not being subtle.
Well, that was my transition.
Yeah.
I was going to make because I think there is an idea that this song is. How do the kids say it? Sex positive, like, you know, like this idea that
kids say it?
This is the idea that sex isn't something to.
My daughter says sex positive to me. By the way, I'm gonna run.
But I am of the possibly old school opinion that our sexuality and sex, as much as we should talk about it and enjoy it, and it's amazing, that it is also precious, that it is also something special about it, and that it serves more of a purpose than just pleasure. That is certainly one of its purposes, and I'm not even talking about procreation. I'm talking about relational purposes, that it is kind of a bonding thing that happens between human beings in a way to connect. And so I could spend a lot of time philosophizing on kind of my morals that go along with sex and how they've changed and you know what I believe and what I was taught and all that kind of stuff. But when I see a song like this, I see imbalance. I see a song that is so in the idea of, you know, I'm going to use the word lust. Like there's a real like greed to the way they talk about sex.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that the philosophy behind what they're doing is anything beyond shock value, unless I'm missing something.
I mean, I obviously could see that this was about sex, so I didn't miss that.
Good job.
I missed like the specific P part of it that we're like, oh, we're supposed to be really hyper focused on that. So anyway, but to me, this was about like. Obviously, they're very comfortable with the power of sex. And I think that might be part of what you're talking about is it's like for you, maybe it's more obvious that it's being used as a power thing rather than a relational thing.
Which the philosophy is that has been such a warped power dynamic over the years that there is something about them, about females taking back the idea of sexuality and the idea of the power behind it. And I totally get, you know, all of that stuff, but there's a apathy is maybe the wrong word, but there is they seem uncaring about the power of sexuality in a relational way. They just care about it in a ownership way, and I don't think that's a full way to view sexuality.
Right.
Yeah, your sex video would be really boring compared to this one, I think.
I have
it'd be about love and relationships, though. I don't know.
Sometimes you just gotta bone, Aaron. Sometimes,
can you?
I don't believe that.
Your music video would just be like the like some really like banging music and like you're in the mood, and then the door closes with like a little privacy like little sign that just swings on that, and that's it. That's the whole video. It's like, not for your eyes, guys. It's just for us.
my video is going to be weak ass philosophy.
I don't think it's weak. I just think that obviously it's so different than what we're watching.
No, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Here, let me. I've got the metaphor. I really think I have a good metaphor here. If you compare it to,
are you talking about birds and bees, or
no? If you compare it to your health via how you eat, right? Eating is a very human carnal, in your skin thing. You know, you stuff food in your mouth, you digest it, all that kind of stuff. But if you take the version of this video that is eating, it's about gluttony. It's just about, you know, stuffing all the food in, whatever food you want, and, you know, I'm gonna slam that donut into my throat.
Wait. So hold on a second. Are you? Because I didn't pick up that I didn't listen to the actual song or read the lyrics.
Okay.
So you're saying that they're consuming sex in a gluttonous way?
Yeah, I'm talking. There's a lust element to it. Yeah.
Because they're describing it as parking their Big Mac truck in their little garage.
Yes. Yeah. The idea
rather than let's make love,
you know, or some balance, or some idea of the relational aspect. Some of the idea that what you eat matters, how you eat it matters. You know.
But are they? But did it give you that feeling that they were consuming too much Mac truck from too many sources, or
it gave me that feeling that they didn't care. It gave me that feeling that all that's important is the getting off.
I took it, whoever their dude was, this is what they wanted him to do.
Yeah.
That's the way I took it.
It could be just one Mac truck, Aaron, and they just want it to be donuts and garages and all that. It was very dominating, though.
It was very much them taking charge, and which is always badass. I mean, I and that's the thing. I mean, like, no matter what the subject matter is, anytime I see just like, I don't know, strong women, you know, that's always a positive for me. Any kind of imagery, whether it's about sex or something that's, you know, maybe more important. Although what's more important than sex, let's be honest.
I could be wrestling with my own background, my own, you know, where I come from, all that kind of stuff. Like, I completely admit that, and maybe I'm projecting. Maybe I'm projecting an image that's not intended, those kind of things. But when I hear, and I did, you know, listen to the actual song and read the lyrics, and as I am per want to do, and it felt to me that though I understand the importance of the power dynamic of what they're talking about, that I still think it's an imbalanced view of an important subject that is much more complicated than you know, they are making it out to be.
Absolutely.
And that's okay. Not every song has to be a thesis. You know,
but you could say that about love songs too. I mean, love songs simplify.
And I do say that about love songs. Yeah, absolutely. Like, that's, but again, this is my problem, and we all know it. Every time we hit music video sins, I take every song as if it's some sort of doctoral thesis on whatever topic it's talking about, and you know, that's on me. That's how I view words and poetry and literature, is that there's something deeper going on there, and there's not anything deeper going on here. So, you know, it's I don't know.
I just read the lyrics for the first time. I'm gonna say that you can confidently. I can confidently understand where you're coming from now.
Okay, now that you've read the lyrics, yeah.
Now that I've read the lyrics, where the first whores in this house, there's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I mean, it does come from somewhere. I'm just saying, we all know my predilection to take this stuff too seriously, and so take it with a grain of salt.
Well, and I'm also reading some stuff that's like spit in my mouth, beat it up. So there's like this sort of like aggression to the sexual act. I think also that would be difficult for some people to connect to, because there's a real dominating aspect to this. So anyway,
the whores in the house, though, let me tell you, can I tell you a quick story about that? So I think I mentioned something to you guys on Slack if you guys caught it, but that got stuck in my head because I watched this video several times and to work on the script, and then I watched it
to work on it.
Research.
And then it really was. And then I had to watch it, you know, the edit a few times. So that got stuck in my head, though, because this is this song is a banger, man. It gets stuck in your head after a while.
That's the other thing that I didn't get a chance to say. It's actually a really decent jam. Like, it's, you know, and they are so skilled. Megan Thee Stallion is so skilled, and so there is that element of it as well.
Oh, she can rap quick too.
Oh, she's great. She's really talented.
But so when I get stuff stuck in my head, I don't even intentionally, like, it just starts coming out of me. Like, I just start singing it, like humming it and that kind of thing, like when I'm walking around the house. So my wife has never heard this song. So I'm like walking in the kitchen just going, there's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. And my wife was like, what did you just say? Like, what? I was like, oh, sorry. Because then I was like, I'm in a house alone with two women, you know, like that was not the best thing. So that was really funny.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Way to go, Jonathan. Let's move into the video. I'll kick us off on this. this one. She's the one going to call the plumber this time. I thought was hilarious. And you don't want him to park though, right?
That was my favorite
Right, like
one
you
by
kind of want him
far.
to move in and then back up, right?
Right,
There's
yeah,
like a little
yeah.
motion there. That was one of my
parking
favorites,
would
too.
be seriously boring sex video.
For all parties involved. I also really liked that she could be talking about doing her taxes for all I
That's
know.
the one I had too.
We
thought that
both,
was
yeah,
great.
that was so the bleeping was, I mean, because it was weird. It was already edited, and then there was still, but I guess there were some things they couldn't change, so they just went with the woo, and that was
Yeah.
very confusing. So I thought Barrett nailed that.
What, Danae, go ahead. What else did you have from this video? Anything else?
You got 'em all.
I nailed them all. Nice. Not the title of my
I
section.
had why even have an indoor pool if it's only 2 inches deep. And then I don't want to know what comes out of the ass sconces, which I think was actually one I might have contributed, but
That's so
some
funny.
version of it.
Nice.
Don't even want to know.
Don't even want to know. All right, now we can make it to SinSide Scoop. We're going to head on to CinemaSins and start with Scoob. You have to say it like that because there's an exclamation point.
Oh, there is. That's right.
This was an Atkinson Hughes script. Chris and Danae writing on this one. Chris, have anything to say about this?
Yeah, he said I haven't seen a movie like Scoob in a long time.
Nicely done. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Where an Indiana Jones style adventure is meticulously constructed to involve the protagonists. The whole idea that Alexander the Great stashed his treasure in the underworld and made it so that you needed one of his descendants or one of his dog's descendants to enter it is silly enough, but that the closing of it requires a human and a dog that have a great friendship, no Alexander the Great connection required, is sillier. And the silliest is that the rules require either the human or dog to be sealed in the underworld forever until the magical statue shows up and Scooby pleads with it to bring Shaggy back. I was confused too. It made no sense. Oh yeah, 3 skulls of Cerberus spread around the world are required to make the gate for the underworld to even show up in the first place, and this movie is trying to set up a Hanna-Barbera universe in a very WB way. Throw a million characters into the movie and hope people connect or feel nostalgia for Blue Falcon or Captain Caveman. Scoob is straight up bad. It's not a mystery in the style of Scooby-Doo at all, and the worst thing is everyone is worthless except Velma. They turned Fred into a dim bulb. Daphne does next to nothing except help a robot with a dustbuster head. It sucks.
Moving on to the Hitman's Bodyguard.
So what did you think of Scoob, Danae, since you worked on it?
Oh, I was confused for a very, very long time on this one.
Of course.
Because it just goes to some really confusing places. Like, I originally was like, okay, we're watching an origin story. And then it's like, okay, we're watching the band breaking up. Okay, we're not watching normal capers at all. Okay, there's a superhero. Okay, we're traveling. There's a bad guy that can do these crazy things with the skull. Okay, like, so it just bounces everywhere. And by the time we got to Alexander the Great and the whole underworld part of things and just how quickly assumptions are made and Google searches are enacted, I was just like, I don't understand anything anymore. And I was not having fun in a sad way, because you should have fun with Scooby-Doo. It should be fun, you know? And instead it was like they really just tried to put too much kind of into this. It was doomed for the start for me with opening with California Love, because that's one of my favorite songs. And I had to stop. So it's like the very first thing, it's the opening. And like the Universal or whatever the logo is like kind of like fading up, and we're coming down on Venice Beach. And I'm like, how is this a kid's song in a kid's movie? We're in the bomb ass state. Like, we're in that with the bomb ass hippie. The state where you never find a dance floor empty.
They
And
play
Kempsky.
inappropriate music all the time in kids' movies, though. I don't know.
That's dumb. That was
It
too
is.
far. Tupac took it too far.
That song needs like 1 or 2 more verses, I think.
I think
that
I
would-
just heard
I think that would be
actually-
like a great, perfect song for me if it had like 1 more verse.
I actually just heard they have greenlit Scoob 2, and it's going to start with WAP. So
I can see Aaron doesn't like this movie though, because he has his London Has Fallen face.
oh man, I'm champing. I am champing at the bit, guys. Like, but what's funny is I'm champing at the bit to basically say nothing because everybody else has mentioned everything. But yeah, continue, Danae.
I also found it really hard to get into because when the movie begins, we're in like the history of, Shaggy and Scoob and how they meet. But it took quite a bit of time to figure out where we were, because they do this thing where it's like, okay, it's 1996 Tupac, and then it's 1999 Backstreet Boys, and there's suddenly an iPhone, which was invented in 2007. Then there's a playlist of all this music, like from the 60s and 70s, and then there's Funko Pops, which weren't invented until 1998. Then there's a Harry Potter reference from 97, and then Judge Judy from 96. Now there's a Walmart reference, then some drones, which weren't allowed to be public until 2006, and then Simon Cowell, who looked younger than he looks like a young Simon Cowell. So I'm like, okay, what year is it? And then there's the Shallow song that they sing, which is from 2018, and then they reference IKEA as well. So it's like, I spent the first 40 minutes of this movie going, what year is it?
Chris made the Simon Cowell thing killed me. And when we did the mini pod on this, when it came out, Chris said one of the funniest things I've ever heard say, where he said, it's like if this movie was made like 15 years ago and your special guest star was George Hamilton.
I mean, It was crazy. There's like a boombox as well. Like, so there's so much. And I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to like welcome everyone from every age to the Scoob movie by creating visual and visual things that are, like nostalgic, but then also obviously music, which is nostalgic. But it does a terrible job of establishing where we are in time. I don't know. It was just...
I think it's
all of that. It was just clunky. It was a very clunky movie.
I think it's really cute how you assume the makers of this movie were trying to do anything, because this movie.
I think they're trying to do a lot of things.
No,
too much.
No, I think they do a lot of things. I don't think they put effort into any of them, and that's where the word try comes in for me. Like, they don't think through anything. I mean, it's perfect for us. It's why this video's like 21 minutes long or something, because I mean, they don't think about how the plot works, how the characters work, what time frame it's in. Like, this is a movie that is so unconcerned with any kind of authenticity or validity or consistency that they just like, hey, what do you want to see in this scene? Let's do this. Nobody in the room was going, well, how did they get here? Or why are they here? Or they are not asking any questions in this movie.
Yeah,
they're just doing stuff.
No one spoke up and said, hey guys, we're not even really making a Scooby-Doo movie here.
Right.
What's going on?
This is brand pimping at its worst. This is IP shoveling onto the screen. It's just this movie is awful.
This is like
it's an abomination.
Yeah.
This is the bad thing that the MCU created, I think. Like, this is the bad. This is this is the bad extreme of it. This is
right.
This is like IP. It's IP. It's IP is the only thing moving the story. Nothing else is.
I mean, it's just now we're going to squeeze Captain Caveman in here. Now we're going to squeeze, whatever, the Hanna-Barbera stuff. And it's like, just exit stage left even.
There's so much potential for a better movie here, too. Like, for example, there's 2 vials of hazardous material on a tray at one point in time that's just never really even... It's on the Blue Falcon. It's like, ooh, what if they did something with hazardous material? Or a suspicious worker at the bowling alley, the female who somehow lifts the dumpster to get that robot underneath there. Like, what's her interest? And why was she not intervening on Shaggy's behalf when she saw him obviously being attacked? So she could have been an interesting villain choice. Like there's something more interesting that could be done with everything in this, but it's like they just threw all of that out to just say, we want to hit these high points. We want to sell some new gear, and that's what we want to do.
Not to be a broken record, but they didn't throw anything out. They just didn't consider it in the first place. You know what I mean?
I will say, I laughed occasionally. I actually, one thing I got out of this was, I don't know if he had done animated voicing before this, but I thought Wahlberg was good. As the Blue Falcon.
I think I did myself a favor in that I didn't even look to see who the voice actors were before I watched it the third time. Yeah. So on my third watch, which is usually kind of my quicker watch where I'm kind of looking for those outtakes and maybe just spending a little bit more time on some of the sins that I want to make sure, are more exceptionally written than the simpler ones. So on that third take is when I knew who was even Shaggy, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh my god, how did I not recognize
Will
that
Forte?
guy's voice?
That was a bad choice too, I think. I mean, if they didn't want to have Lillard, I don't understand why you don't want to have Lillard, but that's fine. But like that, he did not work as Shaggy. I could only hear his voice.
Yeah.
But I thought Wahlberg was good. The Blue Falcon was probably my favorite character, if there's such a thing, in this movie, outside of maybe Velma.
Gotta love Velma.
As Chris said. And also, and you guys send this in the video. This could be the transition, I guess, but if you want it to be, but the Shaggy and Scooby. Okay. You don't want another 45-minute conversation.
I'm done talking about this movie.
Scoob. The Shaggy and Scooby not being worthy of being in the group. The thing about that's so irritating is that is in because this was supposed to be a theatrical movie. And then if you take this movie and the live action movies, I'm almost positive those are the only 3 scenarios where they've used that. But they've used that in all 3 of the theatrical movies. That was never a thing on the show. There was never, they were silly and they did stupid things, but there was never a moment in the show where any of these movies they've put, out on Blu-ray and stuff that, we're like, oh, maybe we don't need Shaggy and Scooby. I've never understood why that's even a thing.
That's a great point. That they've created them as outsiders, whereas in the original cartoon, they were part of the team. They were different,
absolutely.
but every part of the team was different. And so,
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and they're selecting the odd ducks as well. They're not selecting the beautiful man, the beautiful woman, or the smart person. They're choosing the 2 that have the silly voices and are a little bit more goofy, which, is another one of those subtle things that you pick up in pop culture or movies or whatever that kind of denotes who is and who isn't important in a peer group. And that is really frustrating to see them and really not even have a defining moment in this movie. There's no major moment when Scooby and Shaggy make a difference and come back. And Chris does a great job of pointing that out in the script. It's their big moment. It's hey, we'll distract him and you guys go to the gate, even though we probably should be there because I have to be here to open the gate. There's no real moment.
That made no sense.
None of it does. None of any of their plans do, or even Blue Falcon's redemption story is just. It's it was a sad movie to watch.
Let me just say, if you had to take a drink every time I rolled my eyes during our conversation on Scoob, you would be in dangerous situation right now.
And this is Mr. Positive Movie Man.
Right? See? Sometimes I do hate movies.
So Scoob and London Has Fallen.
Let's see. Who wants to start talking about the video? Should be one of us, Jonathan.
I can. Just wearing a robe and carrying a gavel doesn't make you Ruth Gator Ginsburg. I thought Is it Ginsburg? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
That sounded wrong to me for some reason.
Well, you said Gator Ginsburg.
You said Gator instead of Bader
Ginsburg, but
Bader, that's what I meant. Damn it. Sorry, Ruth.
Although in the Hanna-Barbera universe,
she's a listener, right?
Maybe there is a Ruth Gator Ginsburg. Who knows?
She listens to our show, I'm sure.
I think so.
Very
yeah,
sorry.
she does. 100%.
Caninabalism, I thought was a great word choice. I love Jeremy's reading of Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
That was fun.
Everything about that Dick Dastardly thing you guys found, Richard Dastardly is an alias and that he had committed 2 crimes in 2 different countries on the same day. Not even taken. I mean, and maybe that's on purpose, but if it's on purpose, I don't get it. So I think that was
right.
just they were just being super lazy with what they put on there. And
yeah,
then,
it was funny because that was actually one where I had written something and then I had deleted it from my script because I had pulled up Google Maps to figure out how much time it would take to actually travel between the 2. But then I remembered he had a rocket ship, and so I was like, well, maybe it was really early in the morning. He could do one, and then the other. It's still completely cinnable. So when I saw that Chris had it in the script from his perspective, I was like, that's great. I'm glad that got in there.
Yeah.
And then the only other one I had was the abandoned. I mean, this was a great video. The only other one I had written down there was abandoned amusement park in Romania with an English title. I thought that was funny. That was a great catch. I didn't notice that.
This is
fun thing to note. The rest of the ones that were inside the park were in Romanian. It's just the title of everything else was in Romanian. It's just the title was, and it was weird.
That's lazy.
This is one of those videos that I was simultaneously jealous I didn't get to write on and also thankful I didn't have to write on.
No, I don't want to watch this again.
Right? Not only did I not want to watch it again, I didn't want to be responsible for cataloging the, oodles and oodles of things that are wrong with it. And at the same time, there's sometimes a lot of fun in figuring out ways to say it. So it was kind of one of those videos where I did not want to write on it, and at the same time I was jealous that I didn't get to.
I own it too because you got like a $3 credit on Vudu if you just bought it, and it was like the same price as renting it. So I'm like, I'll just buy it. And Mackenzie, my daughter, can watch it. She didn't like it either, by the way. So
wow!
I own it because I apparently am now that idiot that buys everything on physical media because I'm afraid it's going away.
This one I own on digital because that was just how it worked. But I do buy most stuff on physical media.
I thought this video was great. Great job. Some of the things I have down, noticing the 2 headphone jacks, I thought was a great catch. 5 strains of herpes made me laugh out loud. Holy crap, guys, this dog can talk. Does anybody else find that amazing? I thought that was so perfect. And this stuff gets political fast after the fist bump. I don't know why. That really made me laugh just because it's about something so completely unpolitical and yet speaks to something that's going on. I thought that was great. The high-powered precision smartphone flashlight will be at the top of the technology that you question. I thought was good too. So yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff in this one. Danae, did you want to mention anything else?
Yeah, there was a couple that I really enjoyed finding or the ones that Chris wrote. But he did a lot of the kind of the stuff at the end that just like peels apart the plot that he mentioned in his description, and I really liked how
that.
Yeah, and I like how he handled it because by the end of the movie, I was so brain numb. I knew that so many things were happening that were wrong, but it's kind of like you feel like you're just swimming in like open water.
Yes.
And you don't have anything to like land on or whatever. And maybe because I had told my brain to shut off so I could just accept what was happening in front of me, I had an easy time sending the first part, but that last part, I like literally was like falling off a cliff in a free fall. So I really loved the end of the script, which is largely all Chris just sort of questioning so many elements about what's happening in this like expert way. Like if we were in battle back to back, it would be me, the wimpy one with a sword going, I just don't have any strength anymore. And he's like ninja. So I was really impressed.
Yeah.
And thankful and grateful because there was so much bullshit happening. And I was like, I don't know what to do.
Chris and I did one, I think it's coming out next week. So it might be out by the time we talk about it, but I won't say the name, but it's actually a movie that's worse than this somehow.
Oh, Lord.
But it's like, it's
Not
a lot of
possible.
plot.
I'm just kidding.
Yes. It's a lot of plot. So he was very helpful on that. Like the same thing. Like, I mean, I had some stuff in there towards the end, but he really broke it down,
Yeah.
in his Chris Atkinson
really good
way.
at that. It's incredible. It's always fun to work with.
He's a plot hole
one of
ninja
the
for sure.
Oh, geez. Yeah. So some of the ones specifically that I wanted to point out was Blue Falcon at the end rescues Fred, but he doesn't ever untie him. He just carries him from the middle of the island and just sort of like drops him. And also somehow Captain Caveman's group of cavemen found the pituitary gland of all things. I thought that was really funny to point out. There's this whole sequence about the Googling that I really, really enjoyed, starting with the, oh, fuck you, no, it isn't, which was just super fun. And realizing that they didn't even spell Copperton correctly in their search was dumb. Probably my favorite sin that I found was the whole, like, if Shaggy can say sure, how can he not say, or if Scooby can say sure, but not Shaggy, how does that work?
Right.
Yeah, he should have
That's
said
a great
"were."
observation. Yeah.
I don't understand how that works, and I was. It's like one of those moments when you find a sin, you're like, I found you. So that was a lot of fun.
red-handed.
Yeah, because it's the same. It's sure is the same SH sound, right? Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. The truck
Like this
driver
movie.
was a fun one, and also the chili dog sequence. Just that whole part of them being in there was a lot of fun. So yeah, this was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to sin, I should say.
And a lot of fun to watch. Great job. Let's move on to The Hitman's Bodyguard. This was an Atkinson Dicer script. Chris and I wrote on this one. What did Chris have to say about this Ryan Reynolds, Samuel L. Jackson hilarity?
the hilarity. This was my first look at Hitman's Bodyguard. When it came out, I kept hearing that it was, quote, pretty good or, quote, better than expected. And yeah, that's pretty much what I experienced here. It's not great, but Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson are fun together. One of my favorite things to deconstruct is the route Interpol took, with star witness Sam Jackson in tow. From Manchester to what I guess was supposed to be the ferry that would take them to the Netherlands. Even with the bad guy in the inside of Interpol, I couldn't quite understand why a route that took them off the highway and into the confines of a city was approved by the director of Interpol. Movies do this thing where they have an action scene in mind, so the particulars of a route are not important, but can always point to the fact that, quote, someone was on the inside to manipulate it. But even with a perfect route, they would have had to get their armored van on a ferry and driven another long way to the
Hague?
Hague.
Were you going to go Hagui?
Hagui. The Hagway. At one point, I wanted to write, quote, why are they even driving to The Hague? Why doesn't Interpol have a helicopter or something? People who made the movie say there's a bad guy on the inside. Stop thinking it. Anyway, decently fun movie. I might watch a sequel.
I'm absolutely going to watch the sequel. This movie is one of those where you're very aware of how ridiculous some of it is and how it doesn't make sense. And yet, for me, I had a blast. And I think a lot of it has to do not only with the chemistry between Samuel L. Jackson and Ryan Reynolds, but just I would watch Ryan Reynolds read the phone book. I think he is so much fun to hang out with. Like, I want that guy as my friend. I want to,
both of them. You don't think Samuel Jackson would be fun to hang out with?
Sure. But for me, Ryan Reynolds is another level. I totally agree with you. Sam Jackson is a blast. But for whatever reason, like, I'll watch an animated GIF that Ryan Reynolds is in and be like, I love that guy so much.
So you're watching Hobbs and Shaw when The Rock doesn't want to hang out with him. And you're like, I'll hang out with you. I'll hang out with you.
100%. Yeah. So that has a lot to do with it. But it is... I think I even wrote a sin as such. If you don't enjoy Ryan Reynolds and Sam Jackson together, you're going to hate this movie because it's pretty much all it is. That this movie succeeds on their chemistry, or it fails if you're not buying into it, because the actual action stuff is total nonsense.
Well, it's not. It's well, actually, I mean, it is nonsense, but it's not very well shot. It's just kind of. It's not really interesting action. I mean, it's basically just shooting and I saw this around when it came out. I don't think I saw it in the theater, and I honestly didn't remember much about it. Oddly enough, the one thing I remembered mostly about it was that year. I think that was the first time I did the Sif Pop Summer thing.
Oh yeah,
and that was like one of those that like a lot of people were talking about, like this might be a sneaky hit. That's like the thing I remembered about it for some reason. And I think it was a decent hit. I mean, they made a sequel.
Yes,
they're making
summer
a sequel.
Game. I remember when movies came out during the summer.
You really should have done it this summer. That would have been crazy.
Yeah.
Whoever got The Wretched would have won.
Yeah, Unhinged would have been number one.
There you go. Anyways, I rewatched this last night because it's been one that's been on my list of like I want to rewatch it because I hadn't, and then you guys did the video, so I'm like, well, I'll rewatch it. So it's very fresh in my mind, and I agree with basically everything you're saying. I think Samuel Jackson and Ryan Reynolds are great together. Jackson gets to have a lot more, like, I guess, character in this movie. Like, he can kind of let loose a little more because the predicament they put Reynolds in, which I think is very forced, by the way. I don't know why him and his ex have to be, like, it has to be that specific to where he's blaming her for this. And you guys touch on this in the video. Like, it couldn't just be he was upset about all that and so she left him. I mean, that's all you need, right? And then you still have the Samuel L. Jackson twist, which isn't really a twist. Because anybody watching the movie knows that has to be
absolutely
what happened,
Sad sack Ryan Reynolds is hilarious, though. Like, his sad stuff in the moment at the end, and I think it's where we take the sin off, where he is just sitting and drinking while chaos is going on around behind him, and he's just carrying on this conversation with the bartender.
Yeah.
It's some of the funniest things I've ever seen. I just love it so much.
And I also like when he acts like, Samuel Jackson will start to tell him what something means, and he'll be like, no, I know what it means. It just doesn't work in this context. They're very good together.
I think Ryan Reynolds is really interesting too because I know him more from like meme culture, but then also just the real quick news about Deadpool and from just being a part of just basically internet communities who were really, really excited that he, as an actor and a lover of material, created something that the fans are proud of and that he's proud of. And so because of that fan experience as a secondhand person, since I wasn't like a huge fan of Deadpool as far as like I didn't know the material was coming from or any of that stuff, but watching a famous person sort of champion for material and really go to bat for it, according to all of the things that I was reading and all the fan stuff. That's one of the reasons I like Ryan personally, to watch him. And he has a really great comedic delivery that is, I super agree with you, Aaron. It's just, he's magnetizing. You just want to watch what he's going to do. I haven't seen this movie, but because it seems very comedic, I think I would really probably enjoy it.
Yeah, you'd have a great time.
Samuel Jackson's so likable, and Ryan Reynolds and Salma Hayek is really good in this. She's very funny.
I think this would be one where, like, for example, my husband and I would really enjoy it.
Yeah,
like watching this one together.
It's also one of those new and win kind of thing, because I fell in love with him with Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place like immediately. I just thought he was the best thing ever in that sitcom, and then just to watch his career bloom, and like I like movies like The Proposal because he's in it. You know what I mean? Like it's just he's so fun to watch.
I think Deadpool, though, she's bringing up Deadpool. I think that's a great example of how good he is, though, because I personally think that movie has a lot of issues, but he's so good. Like, he basically makes that movie good.
Right.
Yeah.
I do not love that movie. I think
with
you're
you.
on the same. Yeah. I think it's very funny at times. I mean, there's a lot of good things about it, but I think it's almost 100% him. And I really didn't like the second one. And the second one, I think, showed even more how weak the first one was.
Exactly.
Because when they tried to create a universe around it, it kind of fell apart.
Yeah. It's a one joke premise. The joke is very funny, but it's a one joke premise, and to try to stretch it over one movie, let alone two, is you can start to see it strain.
Yes. So he's awesome. I totally agree.
But I think it's nice too to think that his passion for content and his passion maybe even for creating Deadpool open doors for a movie like this. Like, would he have been considered for a role like this without showing his chops in this other format? You know what I mean?
Sure. No, I totally get that.
Because he has that comedy, snarky hero vibe, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like, I know a guy like that, but I don't know that he could do the heroic things that he's doing, but I know a guy like that.
Yeah, he's got that crazy combination of like typical leading man, chiseled features and typical sidekick, snarky, wit, which isn't necessarily something that always goes together. And so I think it works really well for him.
It seems like, I don't know for a fact, but this is one of those things where I would think they really liked each other because like they really got along. I mean, it feels that way, at least. It feels like, if not, they're better actors than I thought. But
right.
They're doing a sequel, so I guess they're fine.
I think he's kind of, who was kind of the prototype for this was Cary Grant, right? Like Cary Grant was kind of had that little bit of that sarcastic wit to him, and was, still at the same time.
I do like that comparison. They used to compare Jim Carrey to Cary Grant, which I do not agree with.
No,
at all.
I don't think that's accurate. But,
I don't think it is either. But I think Ryan Reynolds fits more of that mold. Like you could totally see Ryan Reynolds do North by Northwest.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Oh yeah.
Danae, why don't you kick us off? Transition us into the video. What were some of the things you liked about it?
The Interpol on smartphone. Just like it's like, okay, so you're gonna see. That just doesn't seem smart to me, but okay, like the whole delivery on that one. But my I'll save my favorite for the last. Actually, I'll skip ahead. Oh, the ricochet bullet in the airbag was fun. The entire like repeat sequence of the referencing like the clock is ticking, and then it's like, it's a good thing you're not gonna like show the clock. Damn it, and then that happening multiple times.
This movie does not trust the audience because it just like it'll say it through a reporter, then show the clock, then have the judge say it, and it's like, we get it. The time's trust us.
But that's so stupid. Like that time limit is so dumb.
It's so arbitrary anyway. Yeah.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I liked that too, because you don't even think, like, again, for myself as the normal movie viewer, I don't think about how that's insulting. Like, I know what you just said, but then even now to think that it takes up that much time in a movie, that couple of minutes at the end may have been spent looking at a clock rather than something that we really are excited to see, is definitely cinnable. But my absolute favorite was the C cup titty size.
I had that written down.
The C that makes a D look like an A. I freaking love that. I loved it because it's like, yeah, I would look through the C cup window, and then it zooms in. It's just like that's like a fucking triple X.
Well,
like
I know,
I will
what
tell
would that
you
be?
in keeping tabs what that window is. In my keeping tabs.
That window would be back surgery. is what that window
Exactly.
would be.
I'm just saying, as a woman, imagining that was C cup, and then imagining having a breast that large, I had to go lay down. I was like, ow. Oh, Jesus Lord. It's like when you see something on screen that makes you hurt on the inside.
Yeah.
I had that experience.
So that
but
was the equivalent of like
getting
men
kicked in the
seeing
balls
like
or
getting
something.
kicked in the balls. Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice.
But it was a hilarious sin. Supreme. I loved
thanks. Thanks. Jonathan, what about you?
Nether landlines. Love that. Love that wordplay. Oh God, urine in a bottle. And actually, that was so fun too because he started singing it, and I was like, wait, what is it? What is that song? And then when he did urine in a bottle, I was like, oh yeah, of course, message in a bottle.
Yep.
And then I don't remember. That was clearly 576. I wrote that down, but I don't.
Oh, that's a
remember what that
haiku
was.
reference.
That was the
Oh,
haiku
that's right.
reference.
That's right. Yes,
yeah.
that's what it was. I loved that. That was hilarious. Oh, Michael survives this. I want to talk about that scene. So I agree with you. That scene is total bullshit, but god damn it, I loved that. I loved that shot of him going through
Oh, it's
the window.
hilarious. Oh, it's so great. It's
Oh,
so
and if
well
you watch
done.
that, they just show it really quick too, Danae. You should like look up that scene because it's just I don't even know how they shot it. Like, because I mean, it looks
looked
like it looks
painful.
like one shot, so I don't know how that could be a stunt double. But
It's
it
so
had
well
to
done.
be, right?
It's very well done. Yeah.
Oh
Well,
my
you know,
God.
it reminds me when we send Breaking Bad, and he's up on the ladder in the Fly episode, and he falls down, and you see the stunt double fall
Yeah,
from the top to the bottom.
yeah.
It's uncut, and there's just this, I mean, microscopic moment where
Yeah.
you can kind of tell that they have now superimposed a face on a face and merged it into the actor, but it was so well done. And that kind of stuff is like, man, that's fun. That's
Yeah, I
fun.
know.
You
Yeah.
know, you got like Princess Bride of them falling down where it's clearly a dude with like a beard instead of Buttercup. And then you have something like this. And it's like, wow, this is so cool that we have this technology where we can just be completely immersed in this bullshit. It's awesome.
It's so great because the look on his face, like, because he literally like flips over and just kind of like gravity just propels him back up, and then he's just like, "What the fuck?" You know, like it's just, but it is stupid. He has like he doesn't even have any cuts on his face, does he? He's like nothing. Like
No.
he's fine, right? He's running like 2 minutes later.
Oh yeah, no, he's cool. He just did a barrel roll. That's all you need to do.
Oh,
don't
he's
worry,
cool. He's
don't worry
fine.
about the windshield you went through. It's just-
But it's a great it's a very cinnable moment, but it's also a very great movie moment.
Exactly.
Like it's
There
the
you
money
go.
shot in that movie.
that is the definition of what we do.
And I just thought it was so funny when he was keep it up, Chains. We're all counting on you.
Yeah.
And then I really love the
I love that one.
I really love the I'm not mentioning this for any reason, but Die Hard came out 32 years ago. I thought that was really funny when he was falling. So
Yeah.
good stuff.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun to write on. I wanted to clarify something because I saw some comments on it. The joke about the mountains being there are no mountains in Belarus. And yet there were mountains. And so it says, so much like my college girlfriend, these mountains are obviously fabricated. And in the comments, people were saying things like, oh, no, Jeremy didn't have a college girlfriend. That whole thing's, made up or whatever. And first of all, of course it's made up. But that's not the
Talking
joke.
about boobs, yo.
It's talking about boobs. The joke is
You know,
that
the
the
mountain.
mountains were fabricated.
I'm glad I went back and forth with that because it could have both meanings, right?
Right,
So I was
yeah.
trying to figure out. I immediately thought boobs because I'm a guy, probably, and then maybe he just means like we made up the college girlfriend stuff, which we did. I mean,
Of course,
I'm sure
of
he had a
course
college
it's
girlfriend,
fabricated,
but the stories are fabricated.
Yeah. So I wanted to clarify
I'm
that
glad
one.
to know I'm glad to know I was right. The
Yes,
first
it was intentional. The mountains are obviously fabricated. The definition
cups.
of convenience. I liked that.
Yes. that was really good.
One of the biggest hangups I had in this movie, and it's ridiculous, but the fact that they go to this safe house that is within walking
Yes.
distance from this huge event, and it's a safe house for Interpol. And yet Interpol doesn't even check there, like for hours. It's like what that made no sense to me. And then I really liked Driving May Stacey. was fun. And then when Chris did the thing about the bar where everybody's fighting, he's like, so jeers? I thought that was perfect. I loved that so much. So yeah, this was a really fun one to write on because it had the combination of being a movie you love that also has lots of mistakes in it. It reminded me a lot of, and this is the example I often use, but writing on what's the name? The tower one with The Rock, Skyscraper. It reminded me, what's that movie about the skyscraper called? It reminded me a lot of writing on Skyscraper in that way.
This is a better movie than Skyscraper, I will say.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. I think they both fill that void for me of movie that I think is so fun to watch, but is absolutely ridiculous. So.
Well, I think the difference for me would be I enjoyed myself with Skyscraper while realizing it was pretty bad. I think this one is more good, I guess, would be my rationale.
Man.
It's not much of a... And I might just like Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson better than I like Dwayne Johnson.
Yes, I think that's possible.
But I did love Neve Campbell coming back. I liked her in Skyscraper, so it does have my Neve Campbell is in my Neve Campbell.
Yeah, she belongs to you.
Good God. Yeah, but I can't wait to get to keeping tabs about C cups. That's going to be fun.
Well, let's do it then. Let's move on to keeping tabs.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
Ha ha! Oh, jeez.
This is the most public yet of my many humiliations.
We're each going to tell a story for putting together the content for the week. Maybe a Google search, some strange research, deleted sin, a weird nickname that popped out of nowhere. Eddie Watts, why don't you start first?
I don't really have anything. I just did the Brooklyn Nine-Nine episodes and WAP. I did not Google WAP.
Highly recommend it. You'll learn a lot.
Sure. I guess I should have Googled who the Jenner was for Barrett. I didn't know he needed that information. Although I'm pretty sure that's Kendall, right?
I have no idea. Believe me, I have no idea.
It's Kendall, I think. Yeah, but because speaking of which, that's terrible. Did you guys not hear about that? There was like a petition to get her removed from that video.
Oh,
so
I'm not
weird.
surprised.
People are weird.
People
are awful. I mean, I don't know. I've never watched Keeping Up with the Kardashians. My wife was very upset because she's a fan of the Kardashians, or at least the show. Anyways, but yeah, no, I'm sorry. I didn't really have any homework this week, so
that's cool. I guess I can go then, since I already kind of said I was going to talk about the window. I did have a couple things I could talk about. I did do some research on Cocytus, which is the river in Dante's Inferno, and that was what I love about Captain Holt is that the writers do their research for him, but if you actually research it further, you can usually find a fault with it. I think we've got another one coming up where Holt says something, or maybe it got deleted from the HalloVeen video. Mm-hmm. It's just interesting to me to go check out these Greek mythology references and kind of see, what they actually are. So
I did look up Cocytus, so I do remember this. I looked it up too, but I didn't go as far as you did. So because I was just trying to see if there was anything, differing from what he said. But
yeah. But the one, that I'm going to talk about is the C-cup sized airplane window, which was...
Let's talk about boobs, baby.
Obviously not a C-cup. And I did so much research about breast cup sizes and, just to... Because I really had to know the visual comparison.
So you did WAB research.
Yes, I did. And I think if my research is correct... that window is probably right around a G, somewhere around an F or a G sized cup. So at least according to the internet statisticians / scientists that I was able to find on the subject. So Danae is shaking her head. Danae, what would your guess be on a breast that size as far as a cup size?
You said it was a G?
Yeah, I said somewhere right around a G.
Nah.
No? What would you say?
It's bigger than that. I'd say like triple K.
Did you know this again amongst my research, and I have a site I could pull up with 26 very interesting breast facts. But one of them was that the largest breasted woman currently living is a 52I. So I is the largest cup size that is actually...
What does 52 mean?
Isn't that the distance? I think that has something to do with the measuring distance.
Yeah, I know you're saying like 36D. Yeah, I gotcha. Sorry, I just for some reason my mind.
This is where I get confused, and this is what pisses me off about bras. There does seem to be like a quote unquote universal bra size, but just same as women's clothing in general. We don't have where it's like the pants are sized according to your waist size or your inseam, which would make sense because then we would all have a similar, like you would go look for your pant size in your waist.
Like guys do.
Like guys do. But instead it's like, I'll go into Express and I'm a size 12 or something. I'll go into another store and I'm a size 8. And then I'll go into another store and I'm a 0. And I'm not even kidding you. It depends on where you shop. And they name all the pants different sizes. To quote, I guess, make us feel better or worse about ourselves. I'm not sure. But so I'm not going to tell you what my bra cup is, guys. Like, that's just not going to happen. But when I had my child, my breasts obviously changed sizes. And suddenly I have to find all new clothing to fit me and for my whole entire body. But it has been an absolute train wreck nightmare in bra world. And so I don't believe you, Aaron, but I believe you did the research.
Do you want me to read any of the breast facts that I found in this?
Sure.
I can read some of them. Some of them are interesting. Some of them aren't. We mentioned the non-standardized sizing, all that kind of stuff. Estimated 80% of women are wearing the wrong bra size. 8 out of 10 women aren't even wearing the correct size because of sizing issues, those kind of things. Not reading that stat. Let's see.
I just want to say, for the record, I don't think women should wear bras unless you really like it. I don't think it should be considered a standard.
I am with you.
But it
doesn't matter to me.
There's reasons to wear bras. I will just say that. Like, there are some times that, like, I think it's a really important thing because of just the anatomy. Some women have a lot of skin that will then fold over on top of other skin, and that can get really hot and uncomfortable. So there's those reasons.
You're lactating.
You could be lactating. And the other thing is that apparently nipples mean sex. So if your nipples show, you apparently can kind of come across as slutty. So we're all afraid of nipples.
That's not a good reason, though. That's not a good reason.
Showing through fabric. So wearing a bra can cover that and help to have no nip.
Yeah.
So to that, I just say get those cool like stickers, stick them on your nipples, and just go bra free. If we all commit to doing it, it will just be normalized in about 20 years.
Do like what Cardi B did with that outfit, where she's got like the chain hair.
I loved her dress in that because it was just so much cleavage, and it's like, man, yeah, let's just like let them all loose, let them all down, like get rid of these fucking bras, man.
Another fact, according to this website, in the internet, as you know, never wrong. But wearing a bra does not prevent sagging. Gravity does that whether you wear a bra or not. If your breasts are heavy enough to stretch that skin, your skin is going to stretch, whether you're wearing a bra or not. So I thought that was interesting.
I remember reading something years back that was like, it was like, if bras prevent sag, it's only over the course of your life, maybe a millimeter. I was like, that's not enough for me. My God. It was something like that.
Here's another one. The average woman will spend $4,000 on bras in her lifetime and own 16 bras throughout a typical year. So that's a lot of money. And this is the reason
my wife's already spent that.
And this is one of the reasons that you will probably never see the braless idea take off. The lingerie industry made $13 billion last year in bras. And when there's that much money on the line, there's not much incentive for the companies to get behind those kind of things. So, also 11% of women have apparently named their boobs. So,
yeah.
So there you go.
I did that when I was a teenager.
Yeah. Do you mind sharing the names?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't thought about it in
Did they have the
same
name or did they have separate names?
No, they had separate names.
Of course.
And it was not that interesting, but one was Betty and one was Boop.
Betty and Boop.
At least it wasn't Eddie and Watt. That'd be weird.
That would be so weird.
This boob's name is Wop, and this boob's name is Wop, and together they are Wop Wop. All right. We can move on. Danae, what did you have for your keeping tabs this week?
Well, you kind of heard me run through a whole bunch of stats when I was talking about Scoob. As far as a timeline, I looked up every single one of those pieces of information, specifically like the history of the boombox. Like, because when I saw that going down Venice Beach, I thought, oh, okay, what year is it? And I went to kind of look to see when boomboxes were that large. And then I went and looked up information on boomboxes and tried to figure out like which ones were the ones that had the double cassette tape, et cetera, et cetera. I found an interesting website called timetoast.com on that one and kind of looked at boombox history, which is, it's just kind of fun to see, you know, all the old boomboxes. But this is literally a timeline of when they gained popularity. So that was kind of a fun little bunny trail.
I had one.
Yeah, I did too.
Couple, actually.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I also, I kind of went through that reference earlier of even like the Funko Pops and stuff like that, but there was also reference, I think, to Toy Story at some point in time, or maybe there was a toy from Toy Story. So I was looking at when that movie came out, which, you know, 1995, I think is what I wrote down.
That time research you did was pretty intense when you went through it earlier when we were talking about the videos. I was like, wow, that's some research right there.
Yeah, like finding out that the FAA issued their first commercial drone permit in 2006.
Right.
So when they bust that guy and they have all those electronics in that secret back room, there's an entire shelf of drones. So it's like, okay, they wouldn't be commercially selling drones until after 2006, and those look pretty new. But then, you know, again, we get to the point where we finally hear the song "Shallow," so we know it has to be after 2018.
Which is so strange.
Geez.
So strange.
So strange. I actually ended up looking about when the sun sets in Venice Beach at one point in time because I was just trying to find, you know, little things to sin while Scooby and Shaggy are in his childhood bed with that creepy puppet beside. But anyway.
You could have asked me. Some of my favorite pictures of my wife and I are sunset on Venice Beach. So, yeah.
Well, the clock said 6:45 and it was dark out. And I was like, does that seem right to me? So I kind of did some research on timeanddate.com to figure out, okay, when is the sun setting? And then I had to look up and I was like, oh, I've got a sin here. But I was looking at this month instead of in October because it was Halloween. So they actually were correct as far as it was setting correctly at that point in time. But the fun thing that I think I landed on was looking up the word Blue Falcon, which is a U.S. military, is it euphemistic? It's a euphemistic statement. It means a supposed comrade whose actions harm his friends, often but not always for his own benefit, which is the guy's character in the movie. So I thought that was a very interesting thing to kind of come across. I don't know if that's an intentional thing with the actual the character itself, if that's his shtick, you know, that he's kind of that way, or if the movie's portraying Blue Falcon in a new way.
And this wasn't Blue Falcon, right? This was his son, and I still don't know why the movie chose that route, other than I guess they felt that would make more sense that he was dumb.
Well, if they're trying to bring it into 2020, which I think they were, maybe it had to be a son, because then the real Blue Falcon would be too old.
We did it. We found the one place the creators of Scoob actually took some time to try to think about something.
I did it! Woo!
Way to go. I think that movie's amazing now that I realize they actually considered that it would be his son and not him. Let's move on to comment section.
I want to know what you're thinking.
I appreciate your honesty. You're a real straight shooter.
You are the ones who are the ball lickers.
We're just going to take a look at a comment from the week's stuff that we want to bring to the forefront. Mine's quick and easy. Had to mention it. One of my favorite comments ever on the Scoob video from G Unit says, and they would have gotten away with this movie too if it wasn't for these meddling sinners. I thought that was absolutely perfect.
I'm glad somebody got that in.
Yeah, absolutely
Quick
perfect.
and Easy is also the name of my sex tape.
See? I like it. I think it works for the TV Sins narrator. What do you got, Danae?
Mine is from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. The scene where at the very beginning of HalloVeen, when the covers peel back and there's no eggs there, the Reaper says, also, despite how funny it is, Holt would never eat Peralta's under the covers eggs.
I thought that was funny too. I had that one down.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great thing to point out.
Jonathan, what do you got?
Well, I'll do one from that same episode, which we kind of talked about this a little bit, where people were talking about how they've been planning it, but I just liked how this one was written. It was Renato Corvero. I don't know. You put sends in for acquiring things last minute. When the character says outright that stuff has been planned for months, you should be sending their ability to plan completely ridiculous things that they can't control, even though that itself is the joke. But you took a send off for the proposal, so you get a pass today.
Nice.
People like that proposal, man.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's handled really well. I like the surprise of it is
Yeah.
perfect.
And I know because you wrote the thing about not necessarily loving them together, but I know, I don't know why I'm kind of like that too. Like, they work well together,
They're
but
fine.
there is something about it that never has really.
It's almost like their razzing of each other is their love.
Yeah.
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 They
that's
really
probably
like to
true.
razz each other.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's definitely true.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff. All right, let's move on to Beyond the Sins.
To infinity and beyond.
Somewhere beyond my wild history.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
We're each going to chat about something else from the world of pop culture that we have seen recently, and Jonathan's going to kick us off.
So on CBS All Access, no, I'm just kidding. I'm not doing CBS All Access. This podcast brought to you by CBS All Access. No, I'm actually going to do their podcast, which I think is like the third week in a row. I've been kind of getting on podcast kick. This is a podcast I've listened to in the past. I hope I haven't had this on a Beyond the Sins. I don't think I have. If I have, it'll just be a reminder, like a year later. But no, there's a podcast called The 430 Movie that I listened to for a while, and then for whatever reason I kind of stopped. But then I don't know. It started. I got reminded of it recently, and I picked it back up, and I really am really enjoying it. So apparently, in the late 60s to the early 80s in New York, there was this station that played what was called the 430 Movie. So every day, Monday through Friday at 4:30, they would show a movie, and they would do like theme weeks, like they would do like Godzilla week, or science fiction week, or whatever. And so this podcast, these three guys, Mark A. Altman, who is probably most well known for writing a lot about Star Trek. He used to run this magazine back in the like 90s called Sci-Fi Universe that was kind of popular for a minute. I don't know if you remember that. And he's also he's been involved in like producing some TV shows and stuff, but he's written a lot about Star Trek. And then Stephen Melching, who's worked on Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, and then Ashley E. Miller, who was one of the screenplay writers for Thor and X-Men First Class. They're the host, and they were fans. They were alive when the 430 Movie was going on, and were big fans of it. So they put this podcast together, where essentially every episode they do a theme week, and then they pick a movie for each day to air. And it's I don't know. It's a lot of fun, right? I mean, I enjoy things like that. I enjoy theme weeks and themes and stuff like that with movies, and bunching movies together. And it's just kind of fun to hear them talk about what movies they would air in this specific week if it was this theme. And it's just a lot of fun to listen to. So if you enjoy things like that, I think it would be worth your while.
That sounds good. The 430 Movie.
Yep.
Is the podcast. I'll go next. I saw Unhinged. I did not go to a theater to see it. I was actually sent a screener. And this is, of course, the movie that is being touted by many as the first movie back to theaters.
Today, as we're recording, right?
As we're recording this, many theaters are opening. The theaters are opening around where we are. I'm not sure what Tennessee's doing, although I think...
No, they're opening. AMC's opening,
yeah,
for sure.
I think in Tennessee. I think last I heard, 44 states were allowing their theaters to open. And so I was curious about it. Beyond this kind of thing that it is during this time that we're in, where it's supposed to symbolize maybe there's light at the end of the tunnel, theaters are opening, whatever. And besides all the political implications that come with whether or not, coronavirus is still dangerous or not dangerous, or dangerous in these situations. Beyond all that, there's an actual movie here that is, for me, much more fun to talk about. And this is one of those movies that so completely knows what it is that that alone almost makes it worth the watch. Like, just, it's fun. This is just a straight up crazy person is pursuing an innocent person kind of movie. And Russell Crowe is as the title indicates, unhinged in this movie, and
kind of felt like falling down. But it's crazier than that even.
It's just, yeah. I mean, the aggression to it is nonstop, and it is, it is a, if nothing else, compelling ride. And I think Russell Crowe's performance is really good. He's a great actor, and you really buy that this is a madman who has just completely lost his way and has snapped and does not care about the repercussions. And that is a scary thing, to think of a human who has snapped and just, there's no incentive for them not to do the worst possible things. And so it certainly could be triggering for people who have, been in abuse situations or break-in situations or those kind of things, because it feels very real. Certainly there is, movie ridiculousness in it that, makes it so it's not like an A+ for me or anything. And plus, I'm not sure exactly what the movie is saying, which we all know is a big deal to me. And so, there's not really a message for me to latch onto. But as far as a compelling experience, this movie knows what it's doing. And I think for some who especially like this kind of aggressive, nonstop kind of movie, I think you'll enjoy the ride. So
I definitely want to check it out at some point. I'm probably going to watch it like in 3 months when it's available to watch in my house.
Yeah, or less. Who knows? Yep.
I just want to let you guys know I'm going to do the same thing I've always done and just not see movies.
Unless you're having to send them. What about you, Danae?
I actually want to talk about, so since I am DMing my first game, I had my first session, and sometimes it's nice to have visuals. You don't have to have visuals if you're going to be playing any kind of a fantasy game with your friends, but I was looking for resources for how to either make a map or to make like a little dungeon type thing. I obviously lean towards just drawing a little doodle on a piece of paper and use your imagination. That's the easiest thing that you can do. And depending on what kind of a game you play, that could work. And then I found some resources though that I thought I would share for anyone who is either thinking about playing a game that requires something visual or would help you as you create a world, or even if you just want to, dick around on a website and have some fun building a little world. So I have a couple of resources that I thought I would share in that vein. The first one is one I just found called INKarnate, INKarnate, INKarnate.com.
Nice wordplay too.
Had to say
I love it. Yeah, I love that
times.
wordplay.
So there are a lot of map building programs that you can purchase where you can kind of download something on your computer and build it in like your computer, where you can essentially just paint on the screen and it creates, land, and then you can click a little button and you can add a mountain, you can zoom in, you can add like buildings and stuff like that. This is that, but online, and there's a free version where you can kind of mess around with it and make some simple things that would work perfectly for what I'm doing right now, which is just some general broad strokes. But then I was looking around on the site, and then you can also spend $5 a month on a subscription or $25 for the whole year. So I went ahead and just earlier this morning spent $25 just to have access to everything. So that's every kind of stamp, as they call them, for different kinds of trees and different colors of, everything you can imagine that you would build a world with. And you also can see other maps that other people have built, whether it's kind of zoomed in on a city or zoomed into like the interior of a building, or zoomed really far out for an actual continent. And a lot of the people post them as public. So you can copy them over to your own profile, and you can manipulate it if you want to. So say that you really don't want to build an entire beautiful world, but you see one that's really close, but you just kind of want to make some manipulation. It looks like that's what's going to be allowed. And I thought that the user interface was really smart. I didn't have to think too much about this one. And there's some other ones that people use to build kind of random worlds that do have a bit of a learning curve. But this is one I just found. Like I said, there's a ton of them out there. You can you can Google search like fantasy map creation, and there are a lot of options. But INKarnate is the one that I am trying. I thought that I would reference that one. And I also wanted to throw out a shout out to Another one that I was linked to from somebody in the community, and I, for the life of me, cannot find your name, so apologies if I can find you. I will do a shout out. It's a more simplistic one. There's a website, itch.io, where people kind of like can do their own generators, and this one's called Whatabou, and that's WATABOU. It's another similar one where you can create either visual maps, and that one was really fun too. Really simple versions. And then you can also on that one change some formats and click on some other like interesting links, and you can get interiors of dungeons, and you just kind of keep refreshing your page, and there's all these different random dungeons that pop up. So you don't have to think too much. It's got the grid and everything, and you can just print those out for your game. So again, that one's WATABOU.itch.io. I know that's a lot. I'll probably end up tweeting that out later on just so that you guys don't have to think about it. And the other one is INKarnate.
Very nice.
Neat.
How was the
You always have
DMing?
cool stuff.
Did you have fun?
Oh my God. Yes, I did have a lot of fun. Before everybody arrived, we did it in person. We had 2 people wearing masks at the table, 2 people not. We were all 6 feet apart in my basement. I set up little areas for everybody to stay apart. So we all were able to stay socially distanced. It was really respectful and awesome. But right before they got there, Justin's like, "Are you excited?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I'm a little nervous." And up pipes my 3-year-old daughter. She goes, "Oh, Mama, don't be nervous. I'm here for you and Daddy's here for you." And I was like, where did you learn this sort of...
Yeah, enjoy that. When they're 9, they don't say stuff like that to you.
It was incredibly sweet. I went over and gave her a hug, and I was like, "Thanks for supporting me, sweetie." But after the 4-hour session, they all were applauding me. They wanted to hang out. They asked me if we could keep going. That's a good sign. And then they stayed for an hour in my driveway talking about the game. Another good sign. So I'm really excited.
Very nice. I felt bad earlier about shutting you down so quickly, and so I wanted to...
Oh, it's okay.
I just want to make sure you...
This isn't Danae's DM podcast.
I'm glad I did it because Iris is a sweetie, and anytime we can get an Iris story, I'm all for that. That's going to wrap it up for Behind the Scenes this week. Don't forget to make sure you are subscribed. Go ahead and leave a comment or a rating as well. You can hang out with us on Twitter. I'm at Aaron Dicer. She is at Danae Says.
DENEESAYS.
He is at Sam Loomis 13. So for Eddie Watts, Danae Hughes, and myself, we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Send any feedback to bts@cinemasins.com. And be sure to subscribe, rate, and comment. Find more ways to connect by visiting cinemasins.com/BTS.
1 is the loneliest number that you'll ever see. 2's not quite as lonely, and forget about 3. I don't know the lyrics.
Who are the people in your neighborhood? In your neighborhood. In your neighborhood. Hello, deep voice. Let's
do it. Let's get this party started.
Isn't that like Screamo, Danae?
I don't know what that was.
Good morning, deep voice Danae.
Good morning. I know, right? Like when I turned on my recorder, I was like, oh, but I have been talking a lot over the last couple of days. And so I think maybe I'm feeling the effects of, I DM'd my first game. Okay, so I
did a morning show, 3 mornings this week.
3 morning shows. And then I did, let me count real quick.
Carry the 7.
I think maybe 10 hours of DMing a game this week because we were leading up to the game and then we played the game. And so I had individual sessions. And then last night was the big like opening session. So, so I woke up this morning and I was like, whoa.
What's up, J-Dubs?
Not much.
J Watts?
You guys, how you doing?
Johnny W? Which forms of the name John, Jonathan, do you like frustrate you when people call you?
I don't know if anything really frustrates me. I feel like John is a name, so like I feel like that's a different name than Jonathan because people get named John.
Sure. So
I just get it's a little annoying when I introduce myself as Jonathan and then they repeat back John. I'm like, that's not what I said. So Johnny kind of gets annoying.
John.
I don't actually. That's one I don't think anyone's ever really called.
Who's ever called somebody John?
Me from here on out. Good morning, John.
I'm okay with J-Dog, and none of them really bother me that much. I mean, I have a couple of people that call me. Chris calls me Johnny sometimes. An old friend of ours named Scott. My wife hates that though, so she allows them to do it, but she gets irritated if somebody else calls me that. I don't know why that name just strikes her ears in a weird way.
Johnny.
Yeah, but I guess she figures Chris is. He's got what do you call it? Tenure. No. He's been in my life longer than her, so she lets him get away with it.
Right. Like you get a pass.
Yeah.
Jojo. Can I call you Jojo?
Never heard that one either.
Aaron's in a mood.
Johnny 5 was the nickname. That's why I hated Short Circuit.
Hey, did you know Johnny 5 is alive?
Was waiting for that one.
I used to get called Jew because that's my initials, but that's not really kosher anymore for a lot of people to say just
Jew?
Randomly. That's my initials.
Jew.
Yeah, Jonathan Edward Watkins. I used to get Hanukkah cards from friends, and yep. I have a bunch of keychains and stuff from when I graduated from high school that say Jew 94 because everybody puts their initials.
I'm gonna start calling you Eddie Watts. What's up, Eddie Watts?
It's all the same.
That Sai said it all. Speaking of names, my son came to me today and said, "Hey, Dad, have you ever wondered why there isn't a different spelling of Eric like there is of Aaron? Because Eric is spelled like Aaron, Erin. Why isn't there an Eric that's Aaroc?" And I'm thinking about it like, that's not how you would spell Eric. But I'm like, well, but that's how you spell Aaron. Like,
yeah, it'd work.
How weird is my name? All of a sudden today, I'm just like, you have the weirdest name. Like, I've lived with it my whole life. And so I've thought maybe about the AA being a little weird, but the O, I've never considered how weird that O is. You know, it's not Aaron, it's Aaron. It's just such a, like, my name is so messed up.
I'm not doing myself any favors with Iris these days because I started laughing when she adds the word but after anything. And so that's like our thing now is we'll just sit side by side on the couch and look around the house and look at ourselves and be like, what about knee butt? And then we'll laugh. And then she'll do, what about nose butt? And so now she's doing it to other people though. And she'll be like, hey, I gotta tell you something. What about lips butt? They just like, what is wrong with your kid? My brother is making the coolest thing on his lathe in his wood shop.
Lathe lady, lathe.
He's part of the crafting community on Twitch, and I guess they have a Discord, and one of the people, maybe like a moderator or something, has a monthly challenge for the whole community. And this month it was the theme of UFOs. So he took like a smaller board and a fat board and then a smaller board, and he sandwiched them together with glue and has been turning it into a flying saucer.
Neat.
Yeah. So he's got an
operational.
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Decorative, but he's now got it to where it's the shape of a flying saucer. I guess it was smaller piece, bigger piece, smaller piece. That makes more sense. Sorry,
because we call those sitting saucers. They cease to be flying saucers at that point.
Yeah. Well, UFO.
It would be a USO.
The easier way of explaining what everyone's going to be doing.
An alien spaceship.
So today, or I guess yesterday, I don't remember when he did his stream on this, but he like scooped out the inside and made it into a bowl. And today he was fitting the lid on top of it so that you can take the lid off and it's a bowl on the inside. It's so rad.
That sounds cool.
It's cool to watch. Yeah, it's cool to watch him work. He also he wears a kilt while he works. He's one of those cool guys that wears kilts and a bow tie.
Yeah. Does he go full authentic? Do you know?
I think so, because he has this. So on Twitch, if you're watching, you like earn channel points that you can spend to get like extra emojis and various things. But my brother has it set up where you can turn in he calls it sawdust because he's in the shop. So you can turn in your sawdust for making him take a drink of water or hydrate. making him stretch. So he'll take a break and he'll do some stretches. And he even has like a camera that's on his body, and he'll turn his body cam on and do stretches, which is really fun to watch.
Nice.
He also has something called Show Socks, because my brother collects socks, very unique ones. And so you can turn in your sawdust, and he'll stop what he's doing, and he'll hike his leg up on the lathe and where the camera is and show the socks. And he's always like, gotta be careful. So I kind of make sure my kilt doesn't show too much.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here.
Right here.
Let's get it started. That song hasn't aged well, the original version.
I was going to say, I'm so glad the original version was never released on the radio. I can't even believe in that year that song was made.
Yeah.
And with that. And Let's Get It Started sounds so much better.
Yeah, it does.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
Think about what rhymes with started.
It's the R word. Let's get
farted.
Yes.
Yeah, let's get farted. That's right. And fart is a bad word, so it hasn't aged well.
Getting it started again would be restarted. So let's get restarted, except not restarted. That's the song. That's the original song.
If you have the original album, that's the actual song. When it got to the radio, they did started, but on the album, it was not started.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Danae's face.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not at all. Not at all.
Fuck, that is horrible.
Because I remember when that song came out, I downloaded it off, I don't know what I had at the time, like LimeWire or whatever.
We short-circuited Danae.
This is my I'm gonna take a drink of water.
Wop wop.